I'm Sarah Knight, and welcome to It's Got Pockets, where just like finding the surprise pockets in your favourite trousers, I'm bringing you perfect pockets of joy and realness. Every week, I'm having unfiltered conversations with women who crack the feck on, even when life gets proper lifey. Women with experience, expertise and wisdom. Because sometimes the best stories start in the middle. Women who've been there, done that, and they're still figuring it out. Join me for real talk, useful tactics, and all the swears in between that make your life and business feel that bit more manageable. Well, hello. Welcome to It's Got Pockets. Today, it's me, little old me, in your little old ear. Just having a little bit of a chat about all the sodding plot twists that we have to go through in life. I mean, there's never just a plan A, is there? And today, I want to talk to you about the comeback. I want to talk to you about your sequel season, the season that's coming your way. The thing that you never thought you'd do, and then you're going to go and do. The thing that you thought you were always going to do, and now you're not doing it anymore. It's all about the plot twists that we have in life, you know, the gritty, the real ones. Often they're the comebacks that start after the rug's been pulled from under us, after the plan's gone sideways, and we're sat there thinking, what the actual bejesus now? What am I going to do? And my thinking behind this was sparked by one of the best lines I've ever heard from a client. And she said to me recently, I'm planning the biggest fuck you I can think of, the success of me. And I was like, whoa there, let's just stop a minute and appreciate the genius of that line. Planning the success of me. It's absolutely brilliant because there's no better way to move forward when something has gone tits up than planning how you do it for you, with you. And that's the plot twist right there. That's when your plot twists become your power cars, become your fuel for your fire to move forward. My client had been utterly blindsided at work. It was a shit show. She'd been undermined. She'd been overlooked. She had a seat at the top table. She was on the board of directors. She went into a meeting thinking it was about one thing, and she sat there and it was not about that thing. It was basically, here's your little package to walk away now. I mean, wow. That sort of thing makes you question everything that you thought you knew. It absolutely rocks your foundations because there you are, absolutely nailing what you do. Your performance is up there, your KPIs are up there. You're nailing corporate life and you're thinking, boom, I've got this. And then bang, in an instant, things change, things move sideways. And her only option was to walk away. There was to be no conversation about how they move forward with that organisation. The decision had been made. But this is the important bit. She walked away on her terms. She took control back. And that's the thing that we can do in these situations. When we end up with the plot twist, when we end up with things going not the way we want them to go, when someone takes control of a situation that actually we don't even have any influence over, what we can do is look at what we do next, what our response is. So we're not reacting to it, we're responding with intention so we get the best out of it. Because here's the thing that most of us aren't taught. A plan B is not failure. A plan C is not giving up. And sometimes the most powerful version of you, the becoming of you, lives in the story that comes after the first one got torn up. After you rip up the script of that first one, that's exactly what's happened to me. My plot twists absolutely have been my power cards. You know, when my marriage failed, I was like, oh, that's not what's supposed to happen. That's not what happens in Disney. I'm supposed to be with this person the rest of my life and 2.4 children. This is what the world's supposed to look like. And then it didn't. And then all of a sudden, I had to craft what the next day looked like and the next day looked like. And it was rocky as hell for a whole heap of time. But oh my God, I would not have it any other way right now. I wouldn't have it any other way right the day after, actually. But we need to understand that life gets lifey, shit happens, and it comes at us from all different angles. And we need to understand that there is no sell-by date on success. And actually, there's no rule book on what success should look like. Remember that rule about shoulds. We need to chuck the shoulds in the bloody bin. There's no best before on possibility. There's no expiry date on the impact that we can make on anything, whether it's our life, whether it's our legacy, whether it's our business, whether it's how we move forward, whether it's how we move our bodies, whether it's how we show up in conversations, whether it's the rooms we walk into or the rooms we walk out of. There is no actual rule book. There is no one way to be successful, despite what the shiny people on social tell you. And there's definitely no past it. It took me a whole heap of time to realise that actually there's no one way to be successful, because I spent a whole heap of time side-eyeing, looking at people around me thinking that's what success looks like, that's what I should be aiming for. And then when I got it, it didn't feel right, it didn't feel like me, because it wasn't my success plan, it wasn't the success of me. It was the script and the success for somebody else. So if you're listening and you've been thrown by a plot twist you didn't ask for, whether it's redundancy, whether it's divorce, whether it's that bloody low-level burnout that comes from constantly holding the scale, from people-pleasing, from second-guessing, whether it's a bastard menopause or a really big life wobble, and you're actually wondering, is this it? Is this what it's about? And lean in, sister. Because we've been fed a lie. We've been fed a lie that success has to be linear. That the best time to start something bold, is when you're young and fresh-faced and full of ideas. Crock of shit. That narrative is rooted in performance culture and the kind of pressure that burns us women out by the time we're 40, 45, unless we decide to do something differently. What I know from coaching hundreds of really experienced women is this, that the biggest breakthroughs that we have often start in the rubble of when something has fallen down. That the redirection we didn't choose actually might be our biggest launch pad into something absolutely blink stinking brilliant. Because when that happens, when we've given ourselves a little bit of time to rock in a corner to recover, we've got context. We've got lived experience. We've got networks to lean into. We've got boundaries. So we're never starting over. We're just resetting, refocusing, reimagining, making it work for us again. And you might not know this, but I would bet you my very last 10p that in these situations you absolutely figure out what you don't want anymore. And that comes down to our inner edge. That comes down to our inner edge of goal setting. We're hardwired to chase certainty. Our brains love a plan, a clear A to B route. It gives us safety. It gives us a dopamine hit. It gives us a neat little box to tick. And our brains like neat little boxes to tick. Our brains like a route to follow. And this comes back to years of being told consciously and inhaling subconsciously what success looks like. You know, that winning team at school, the person that was always chosen first. Maybe it was a bully that never got his or her comeuppance, that toxic boss that never got called out, the perfect Polly that looked perfectly turned out every single day, never sharing that underneath the mask she's shaking with anxiety, wondering where her crew are, not sharing it, not talking about it. These are all messages that we inhale and that determine how we think success should look. It's not about the shoulds. And so when success doesn't go the way we expected and the plan goes up in a load of bloody smoke, our nervous system panics. And that's where what we call goal grief comes in. That's the psychological impact of having to let go of the story we're working towards. Now, when you work with me on the inner edge, we flip it. Because it's not about replacing the plan. It's not about getting straight back on the horse and going, oh, let's go towards that again. It's about exploring what bits of that plan worked for you. It's about resetting. It's about reclaiming your personal advantage, your energy, your emotional clarity, and your mindset. And it's about knowing that when things do go tits up, and let's face it, they absolutely will go tits up. It's not an if, it's a when. Because life gets pretty lifey at times, especially when you're a woman of a certain age. Because we've got all the shit that we're juggling. We've got the emotional lows. We've got the businesses we're working in, the businesses we're leading, the businesses we're running. And if we're not running businesses, we've got the other stuff that goes on as well. We've got the stuff that's going on with our parents, with our kids growing up, with the if, the buts, the whats, the maybes, with the planning, the perfect responses to conversations at 3 o'clock in the morning, with being asked what's for fucking tea every single night. And what we need to understand is that this is about having the toolkit in place to know what we want to do about it, not what we should do about it, but what we want to do about it. After you've given yourself some time to rock in a corner and repeat for fuck's sake a lot. And then recover, because our recovery is the key to building our resilience for when life gets lifey. And that's the bit that we tend to ignore as women. That's the bit, Doris, that I bet you don't do. That recovery bit, that pause to actually give your brain a little bit of time to process what's gone on, to close some of the tabs and go, right, okay, I'm ready to go again. So maybe when we're in those situations, instead of asking what now, what now, what now, what now, and repeat, maybe what we should be asking ourselves is what still matters. Because that's the inner edge of goal setting. It's not based on the bloody bastard hustle. It's based on our own internal anchors, the success of you. Looking at and asking yourself, what do you value? What do you want to feel more of? And what are you no longer willing to tolerate? The women in my world at the moment that are going through, a lot of them actually are going through redundancies at the moment. And one of the first questions I ask them when we've done some rocking in the corner and swearing, obviously, is what does a fab day look like for you? Have you worked that out? Have you sat down and thought, what does a fab day look like? Where are you? What time are you getting up? What are you having? Are you having a lazy morning? You straight into exercise? Is that when your best time of the day is to work? Is that when your creativity comes in? Is that when your productivity comes in? Do you like to get outside at lunchtime? Have you got a dog to walk? What sort of work are you doing? Is it around people? Is it around conversations? What's the things that spark your energy, your passion, your joy? What makes you feel at peace? That's the piece of work to do next. Because these questions, when you actually look and dig deep into these questions, the questions that we never ever give ourselves the time and the energy and the space to think of, these are the questions that bring ourselves back to our self-authored goals. Goals that we choose, that are not handed to us by culture, by comparison, by fear, by side-eyeing, by bloody people-pleasing. And here's how I see it. Every woman I know has had a season, had a period of time where she's thought, well, that's it then. That was my chance. That was my opportunity, and it didn't happen. But here's the reframe. That plot twist where it didn't happen might just be the thing that supercharges you forward. It might be the thing that makes you unshakable. I didn't move into coaching and leadership training until I was 45. I didn't do a fancy launch. There was no strategy slides. There was me, mid-menopause, mid-chaos, mid-life shift, deciding that I was done shrinking to fit into someone else's version of success. But also it was giving myself the time to understand what I really liked doing. And it was people. It was peopling. It was helping people develop. And then the minute I realised that, the minute I'd done the work on that, then that opened so many possibilities of where I could go and what I could do next. And I pivoted the business completely because I knew I was stuck in a room I'd outgrown. And what started that whole different way of thinking was one of my friends corked it. And I went into what I call the fuck it years. And one of my very best friends, she had been a big part of my life. Our kids had grown up together. And she went to sit on a cloud way too early. But when she went to sit on a cloud, we had lots of brilliant conversations, times I absolutely cherish. And we started the fuck it years where I said yes to things in situations where I might have said no before. It's how I met the I keep calling him the current husband, and he keeps telling me I've got to stop calling him the current husband. I keep telling him that I will never be training another. But the husband, it's how I met the husband, the present husband. That sounds quite bad. I'm going to stop now. It's how I met him. It's how I pivoted the business, because that plot twist that absolutely rocked me actually made me realise that I needed to do something for me to make it count, to get busy lifing, rather than just going through the motions of everything and every day. And let's be honest, most of us are building our plan Bs or our plan Cs or our plan Ds in real time, with the washing going on in the background, with the washing on the stairs that no fucker has ever taken up, with our relationships going tits up, with those added curveballs thrown in, with a phone in one hand and a list of responsibilities in the other, all the life admin tapping in your brain, and a brain that fires up at 3 a.m. in the morning. But here's the science. Neuroplasticity doesn't retire. We can come up with a new story, a new plan, a new outcome at any given sodding age. I know women that are setting up businesses in their 60s, in their 70s. Alison Cork, who I interviewed on this podcast, has just become a Times cover girl at the age of 61. I mean, there's no end in sight. It's only what we put in front of us. It's only the barriers that we put up for ourselves that are going to stop us. In fact, women over 50 are statistically just as likely to successfully launch businesses as women in their 20s. And we're better equipped to get shit done, because we're done with the fluff. We know who we are. And a lot of us have stopped asking for bloody permission. And when you blend that experience with a little bit of courage, you become a right bloody force to be reckoned with. So if you're sitting there thinking, that wasn't supposed to be the end of the story, I didn't plan for this, this is not what was supposed to happen, here's your reminder. It's okay if plan A didn't work. It's okay if you have to burn the vision board. It's okay. I mean, what have you got a vision board for anyway? It's okay if what you want now doesn't look like what you used to want, because we change, we move, we evolve. Because you get to write a new chapter. You get to look at what you want to do now, what you want to do next, and then you get to craft it, you get to curate it. And this is the one where success isn't about proving yourself, it is about backing yourself. So whether that plan looks like a fresh business, a slower pace, a louder voice, a total reinvention, or simply just putting yourself back on your own priority list, let it be your plan, your success of you, and let it be enough. Know what success looks like. That's the key. We need to understand what success looks like, what it feels like, and then we can move towards it. Not because it ticks a box, but because it honours who you are, who you're becoming, and the woman that you're stepping into. Because I know with the women that I work with, their plot twists have become their power cards to bloody amazing things. See you next time. As we button up another episode of It's Got Pockets, remember that just like that perfect dress with hidden storage, you've got pockets of potential. You can be exactly who you are meant to be, with no one getting in your way, not even yourself. Just remember, you're not done yet. That plan B or plan C might be waiting for you. If you've enjoyed this episode and would like to work with me, or simply want to connect, come and find me at sarahknightconsultancy.co.uk, or on LinkedIn, you'll find me as Nighty S. See you next time.